Hi, Mike Henderson here with the next installment of how to write your novel using Novel Factory. Okay, if you remember the last time we did a head scene. That doesn't quite jibe with these little paragraphs I have here just because they're not really separate scenes in and of themselves. But in the last one, the main character was driving a ship. His goal was, we had a head scene that had a goal, a conflict, and a disaster. His goal was to just get his cargo to where it has to go. The conflict is that his machine, the hyperdrive, failed, and he finds the part, and he's got to go do a spacewalk. And then the disaster is that he learns he's got to do a spacewalk, and he hates doing spacewalk. Now we're going to do a tale, because this follows a scene. So he's had his goal and conflict and disaster, and now he's got to figure out what to do, so he reacts to it. So his reaction might be, he could be his, Jesus Christ, heart rate increases. He fears, he fears walking in space. Forget the typos, I got all day. One time, when he was a trainee or whatever, he almost floated away or whatever. This is where, as you're going along, things occur to you. It didn't occur to me like this. This just comes along as I'm thinking this out, and this is where the creativity comes in. A lot of people say, well, I can't plan my novel, I can't plan the scenes because it's a lack of creativity. And I understand that, and I don't always do it this way. But this is a good way to do it, and you think it's really still brainstorming. What's his reaction? Well, he doesn't like it. What's his dilemma? To walk in space, and try to fix it, or die of starvation in the void. That's really the dilemma. It's not much of a dilemma. It depends on how afraid of it he is, and then the decision is to walk in space and try to fix it. Okay. And by the way, there's some other things down here. My screen is kind of small, so let's enlarge the screen. All right, there we go. So you can, the time and the weather. I don't care about any of that on this. He's on a spaceship. Now, the timeline might be important because you want to keep track of when things are happening. So that's a tale. So you see how this pans out. He's got a goal. Something happens to screw up the goal. So there's conflict, and then there's an outcome, which is now he's stuck in space. So then he reacts to that. He's got to figure out what to do, and then he decides what to do. And this decision is the goal of the next scene. So let's just go to the next scene. And let it load its data. And again, these are not necessarily going to jibe because I'm doing it in a little bit different order, but I'm trying to illustrate the benefit to the scene sequel thing. because that is what your story is built of, and you must have it. Okay, now we're at the next scene. All right, ignore this for the moment. So his goal is to walk in space to fix it. I don't know what's going on here. My computer is really slow just now for some reason. Who knows what it's doing? So there's going to be a conflict. If we... No, I don't want to do that. So the conflict is basically... it could be anything from, there's a couple things that go on here. He can't find it, find the box. He finds it, but can't open it. He finally opens it and replaces it. So what this also illustrates is you don't want to give your character what he wants. So you make little things. What could go wrong? Really, when you're writing a scene, you don't say, "Well, what happens?" You ask, "What could go wrong?" So, he decides to go out into space. He's scared to death of it. So then he has little problems out there. He can't find the box. It makes it a little more interesting. That's all. If you said he put on the suit, he went out, he found the box, he put the thing in, and closed the gate, and he let him in. What's the conflict? And it's no fun. He got what he's looking for. So he has trouble. He can't find the box, and I have no idea why this thing is going so slow. It's really annoying. So, okay, he replaces it, but then the robot will not let him in. So that is the scene. So now, so he's got to react to it. So then the next thing would be a tale. What's his reaction? Again, he starts to, he feels he's angry. He says something to the robot. The reaction could just be he says something. So he feels, first of all, maybe what he feels. Then his he says something to the robot, and then he's got a dilemma. Now, what do I do? He doesn't know what to do. He can try to break in, or he can try to figure out a way to disable the robot, or whatever. But the next tale, then he comes up with the goal that he's got, and he makes a decision, and that's the goal for the next scene. So we're going to say okay, and that is that for this episode, and we'll continue with it on the next one. Take it easy.